Hello, everyone. I think we are about ready to begin. So I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for being here. It's snowing, it's cold, it's windy, but we are standing up for justice today. So thank you for being here. Just so you guys know, we will do questions at the end of this press conference, but first we're going to be hearing from a number of students, staff, and faculty to speak to their experiences about what's been happening on UMass campus. So first, we're going to hear from a couple of undergraduate students here at UMass Amherst. So speak.
Oh, okay. Good evening. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Will Kenny, and I'm a grad student here at UMass and a member for Students for Justice in Palestine. The speakers here today will share their testimonies of the hypocrisy of a genocide-supporting UMass administration. Over the past 2.5 years, we have witnessed the first live-stream genocide in history. The death toll, including an overwhelming number of children, is appalling. Israel has violated the so-called ceasefire 591 times as of December 2nd, and Palestinian families continue to mourn as drones and bombs continue to kill them. Israel continues to burn tents and withhold aid from Gaza as the harsh winter approaches, while the global elite hatch plans to turn the Strip into a luxury resort for wealthy settlers. The UMass administration continues to propel this genocide financially and ideologically, while silencing and patronizing its students and faculty. Although we are here today to pursue accountability for our university's complicity in the crimes against the native Palestinians in Gaza, we remain steadfast in our demand for land back for indigenous people here in this violent settler colony. Not only do we stand on the stolen lands of the Nipmuc, Paumatuk, and Nonotuck nations, but as a land-grant university, the money used to build this university was obtained through selling indigenous people's land in the western United States. The university continues to benefit from the theft of indigenous land, the enslavement of black people, and the murder of indigenous people here and abroad while denying their human rights. Over the past 2 years, the administration has spent millions of dollars on policing, luxury apartments, and surveillance while continuing to invest in the genocide of Palestinians. It does this all while punishing and brutalizing its students who choose to uphold the university's slogan of "Be Revolutionary." UMass claims in its mission its aim to build a better world where everyone, no matter their background, has the freedom to be themselves. But over the past several months, the university has cracked down on student protests, cut back offerings in Arabic language and Middle Eastern studies, furthering its legacy as a hostile campus to Muslim and Arab students, as it has been deemed by the Council for American-Islamic Relations. Moreover, this semester, the administration has chosen to reprimand, sanction, and suspend anti-genocide protesters who have demanded that UMass cut ties with war profiteers like Raytheon Technologies. The hypocrisy and failure of the university to meet a standard of minimal moral integrity is truly shameful. Despite their hypocrisy and the repression of the UMass community, we are gathered here to show that we are building an alternative to their depravity and bottom line of profit by any means. We gather here to hold to account an administration that is supporting a genocide, ignoring its workers, and silencing its students, and to share the truth with the public. On that note, I would like to welcome our first speaker, student Kivligan de Montebello.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Kivligan de Montebello. I am 20 years old and a junior at UMass Amherst, studying social thought and political economy. I am also a proud member of UMass Students for Justice in Palestine. As we are gathered here today, the Israeli military has killed 5 people in Gaza in the past 24 hours in its ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. I am here to speak to you about the repression that students speaking up against genocide are facing at this university. On September 29th, the Eisenberg School of Management at UMass Amherst held a career fair in the Campus Center auditorium. One of the recruiting companies present was RTX, Raytheon Technologies. Raytheon is the second largest weapons manufacturer and is responsible for war crimes all over the world. Raytheon has been supplying Israel with many of the weapons used to level universities, hospitals, homes, mosques, churches, and schools in Gaza. According to journalists, academics, and experts, a low estimate of 460,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 2023. Over half of these were children. UMass students have protested war profiteers at numerous career fairs over the past 2 years, demanding that the university not allow war profiteers and war criminals to recruit students. I gathered with over 30 students to protest Raytheon's presence at the Eisenberg Career Fair. After chanting outside the career fair for a few minutes, we were told by the demonstration response and safety team that we needed to stand in the corner of the room and be quiet. We complied with their directives. After nearly 2 hours of silent protest, we began chanting again and were told to leave, at which point we left. 11 days later, I received 5 conduct charges from the UMass Code of Conduct office. I was the only student from the protest charged. I met with a dean from the conduct office on October 31st and on November 7th was given 4 sanctions. The heaviest sanction being suspension, effective November 7th, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. I have a hearing tomorrow, December 5th, to appeal these charges. Here, I would like to take a moment to mention the double standard of this university's selective enforcement of their policies. In the 2023-2024 academic year, a student threatened 2 students with death threats and yelled "Kill all Arabs" on UMass campus. Students submitted reports about this ongoing harassment for months to admin, and yet the harm continued and the university took no disciplinary action against the student in an instance where students were actively in danger. In sharp contrast, I was suspended for protesting genocide without hesitation from the administration. Furthermore, I will also have to reapply to the university if I wish to come back next fall and have a re-entry assessment meeting with the conduct office to evaluate my intentions of re-entering the UMass community. To this, I say I am already a part of the UMass community, and the administration are the ones who have completely ostracized themselves from the community by choosing profit and prestige over humanity. In October of 2023, we gave the administration the opportunity to be on the right side of history, demanding that they divest from Israeli apartheid. Instead, they arrested 57 of us. Then again, in the spring of 2024, 73% of the student body voted to divest from Israeli apartheid and adopt BDS guidelines. The university responded by brutalizing and arresting 137 protesters on May 7, 2024. And again, at the Western Mass People's Tribunal, we laid out the university's complicity in genocide and in apartheid, and again gave them the opportunity to respond and divest from death. Their response is suspending students who choose life. Last night, the Student Government Association passed a resolution reaffirming students' right to protest and demanding that the university drop the charges against me. What we are asking is not extreme. We demand that the university divest from Israeli apartheid. This is no longer an educational institution. It has become an institution that profits off of death and war and prioritizes its shareholders over its students. As students of UMass, we demand better. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiv. Next, we will hear from a graduate student who is being investigated by the Equal Opportunities and Access Office.
Good evening. My name is Will Cheney. I am a PhD student here at UMass in the Economics Department and a proud member of the Geo-Palestine Solidarity Caucus. On November 18th, I received a notice of complaint and investigation from the Equal Opportunity and Access Office, which has hired the prestigious private law firm Hunton, Andrews, and Kurth to conduct the investigation. The complaint alleges that at the September 30th, 2024 career fair, more than 13 months prior, I violated the policy against discrimination, harassment, and interpersonal violence and 6 student conduct code policies. 4121C, harassment, 413A, creating a disturbance, 413B, disturbing behavior, 413C, disruptive behavior, 415B, unauthorized access, presence, or use of property, and 418A, violation of university policies and regulation, also known as it's against the rules to break the rules. 2 of these conduct code violations are the same that we were charged with following the May 7th Gaza Solidarity encampment of 2024. It is unclear at this time what sanctions and punishments the university is pursuing against me. However, since this alleged incident happened during our period of probation following the Office of Student Conduct's evidence-less responsibility verdicts from the encampment, there is a long list of possibilities up to suspension. There is a long list of possibilities up to suspension. This investigation is exactly what it looks like. A continuation of the same bald-faced violent repression UMass Amherst and the imperialist war machine have waged against movements for Palestinian liberation. It is not just an attack on me or Kiv, it is an attack on all of us and all of our free speech rights. Last year, following the Gaza Solidarity encampment at UMass, the administration conducted show trials and found over 70 of us responsible for violating the Student Conduct Code. They issued these verdicts without any evidence. After 5 months of investigation, over 400 hours of police body cam footage, interviews with witnesses, and spending almost $500,000 hiring a private law firm. However, the only evidence submitted by the administration was the records of our arrests. Not one photo, not one video, or incriminating witness statement. The only evidence the UMass administration was concerned with is the evidence that they created when they found us officially responsible and placed us on probation. Just like last year's conduct codes, the purpose of this investigation is not to find out facts about an alleged incident at last year's career fair or to prevent discrimination and fight racism. The true purpose of this investigation is to have a chilling effect on those who peacefully resist the genocide of the Palestinians. The real purpose of this investigation is to drain the movement's time and resources. The true purpose of this investigation is to create evidence out of thin air to justify future acts of repression against the movements for Palestinian liberation. We are taking some risks today by sharing our stories and this information with the public, because the fascist war machine that we oppose uses information as a weapon. However, we are doing this, and it is our hope that shining some light on this political repression will contribute to the resistance to the fascist war machine and end the genocide in Palestine.
Next, we will hear about the university's repression against Middle Eastern voices and courses here in the history department at UMass Amherst.
Good afternoon. My name is Abigail O'Donnell, and I'm a senior undergraduate student here to speak about a dangerous pattern on our campus. Scholars who represent and center marginalized voices, who teach the histories of Middle Eastern peoples using Middle Eastern authors, and who highlight their resistance to colonialism and imperialism are being targeted. Their academic freedom is being restricted, their scholarship is being silenced, their presence in classrooms is being pushed aside. This past spring, the UMass History Department held an open search for a modern Middle East history professor. This past spring, the UMass History Department held an open search for a modern Middle East history professor. A current UMass lecturer and respected Iranian Muslim scholar, Dr. Mohammad Attai, was a selected finalist. He was then approved by both the department and administration, but he was never offered the position. Instead, Dean Lupe Davidson of the College of Humanities and Fine Arts paused the search. Dean Davidson then demanded the entire search process be restarted, discarding candidates from the original search. In October of this semester, 2/3 of permanent faculty in the history department, joined by several staff members and many graduate students, sent a letter to the HFA dean. The letter demanded she unpause the search and continue with the original finalists. The HFA dean ignored this demand and refused to meet with concerned faculty and students. Instead, she released a statement claiming that the original search had been officially marked as failed and could not be continued. This explanation is false. A finalist had been approved, Dr. Attai. Additionally, a search in the physics department was similarly paused, but the physics search was unpaused and allowed to continue with the original candidates. The university clearly did have a choice. University leadership chose to block the modern Middle East professor position, and that choice targeted a scholar whose work centers marginalized and oppressed people and their resistance. This repression did not end with denying Dr. Attai a tenure-track position. He was also stopped from teaching a second class this semester, and all 3 of his classes for next spring were canceled. This effectively dismissed him as a lecturer. These classes include ones on the history of Palestine and Israel and on the Iranian Revolution. Through on-campus activism and pressure, his Level 100 Modern Middle East class was added back to the spring course catalog. This is a small victory. Nevertheless, the canceling of classes focused on the Middle East and the blocking of Dr. Attai's ability to teach constitutes a discriminatory attack against scholarship about and by Muslim and Middle Eastern academics. These actions are just one way that UMass is failing its Muslim and Middle Eastern communities. Students are being sent a painful message that their histories and points of view are not welcome here. We must not accept this. We must not be silent. Academic freedom is under attack nationwide. Scholars are being punished for speaking the truth about war, empire, and injustice. We refuse to let already marginalized voices and often cleansed histories to be erased from our campus. We reaffirm our right to learn about resistance to imperialism, colonialism, and genocide, and about how people challenge power. This moment demands a collective response. And we demand that MSP, the Massachusetts Society of Professors, rises to the occasion and defends academic freedom. Thank you.
Great. Now, along a similar vein, we will hear about the attacks of on the only intensive and communicative Arabic language classes here at UMass Amherst.
Hello, my name is Marielsa McBride. I'm an undergrad senior. I will be reading a message from Kate, who is a graduate student studying Arabic. Ahlan wa sahlan. Hello. I'm here to speak for a few moments on the gradual demise of Arabic studies in the 5-college consortium, and specifically here at UMass. In October 2025, our community learned of the impending termination of the 5-college Arabic program, a decision made by the 5-college provosts and allegedly due to low enrollment. As a result, Amherst College and Mount Holyoke will no longer offer any Arabic language courses. Alongside this decision, UMass Amherst administration is making significant cuts to their Arabic language program. eliminating the 4 skill courses, which includes Arabic training in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. This program was the only opportunity that UMass offered for students to learn not only how to read and write in Arabic, but also to speak and listen in Arabic. In eliminating this program, UMass administration has discontinued the position of a beloved senior lecturer with continuing appointment who has worked at UMass for 14 years. In spring 2025, UMass admin informed this instructor that they were canceling her intensive Arabic classes. Since then, her remaining classes have been buried in Spire, the system students use to find and enroll in courses. When you do a straightforward search for Arabic language classes in Spire, her classes do not show up. In November 2025, UMass admin attempted to discontinue her position, citing the 5-college Arabic program cancellation. She informed them that while she was a 5-college lecturer, her contract was with UMass. Shortly thereafter, her position was discontinued, allegedly due to low enrollment, even though her 4 skill courses have similar or even higher enrollment numbers than several other language courses that continue to be offered here. We here see the cancellation of Arabic language programs as one step in a deliberate, ongoing process that attempts to systematically delegitimize, dismantle, and demolish Arab histories and cultures. By removing UMass students' opportunity to build the skills necessary to communicate with Arabic speakers, UMass erodes the rich cultural and political literacy standing in the way of the federal government's xenophobic and Islamophobic agenda. This cancellation is particularly pernicious when we consider Israel's U.S.-backed genocide of Palestinians and the massive and aggressive expansionist policies that the United States and Israel have been implementing across the Middle East for decades. At a time when we should be collectively guarding and honoring Arabic language, Arab histories, Arab cultures, these decisions accomplish the opposite. As a graduate student studying U.S. imperialism and Swana Middle East histories, the 4-skill Arabic language program has been essential to my research. On a personal note, learning Arabic, the language of my own ancestors, has meant the world to me. We are here to call on UMass to reinstate its 4-skilled Arabic program, as well as my instructor's livelihood. Shukran, thank you.
Next, we will hear from a UMass faculty about a recently published budgetary report on UMass's finances.
Hi, everyone. Wow, that light is bright. So, Kevin Young, I teach in the history department. I just finished this report on the UMass budget situation. Just had the hard copies printed. So if you're with the press, I have a present for you afterwards. For everyone else, I have a 1-page handout that cites most of the information that I'm about to give you. So I'm shifting gears here slightly from the previous speakers, but really only slightly, because repression and austerity go hand in hand. One reason is that alleged budgetary constraints provide a convenient way for administrators to justify decisions that may be driven by ideological bias. The fight against austerity is therefore central to protecting free speech and academic freedom, and to the other fights in which we are engaged. From the struggle for dignified staff wages to holding the administration accountable to its pledge to stop burning planet-heating fossil fuels by 2032, which it is now quietly abandoning. Taking a glance at the state of finances in the UMass system, we can see that there's no need for austerity. Our campus administration routinely overstates budgetary constraints in order to dampen expectations and justify its own cuts to disfavored programs. The report available at the QR code, which I'll give you, it's also on the back of the report itself, details 7 major sources of potential revenue and savings that the campus and the system could use. Just one example, the campus had budget surpluses of at least $100 million in fiscal years 22, 23, and 24. They haven't released the official figures for fiscal year 25 yet, but it's rumored to be in the range of 4%, which by my estimate would put it somewhere north of $60 million. In other areas of the budget, the campus could save and reallocate many millions of dollars from non-essential uses to essential needs. Athletics is one area of significant waste. The 4 highest paid employees on campus are coaches and the athletic director. Currently, the campus plans an overhaul of the football stadium that is projected to cost $25 to $30 million. Another area of waste is the disproportionate expansion of the upper administration and administrator salaries over the past 15 years. By capping administrator salaries and reducing administrative positions to more reasonable levels, the campus could fund many of the things for which students and workers are fighting. For example, currently there are over 1,100 full-time staff on this campus who make under $60,000 a year. Had administrator salaries been capped at $200,000 in the year 2024, the campus could have saved enough money to cover 98% of the cost of raising all those employees up to $60,000. Some people will warn us not to raise these points too loudly for fear of harming the reputation of our institution. We refuse to be blamed for raising criticisms of the campus administration. They, not us, are the ones who should answer for their misplaced budgetary priorities and top-down, unaccountable decision-making. By fighting for democracy on our campus, we are the ones defending this institution and defending the promise of public higher education. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, last but certainly not least, we will be hearing from a member of the Professional Staff Union.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ari Jewell, and I am a worker at UMass and a proud member of the Professional Staff Union, or PSU. I serve on the PSU Communications Committee and on our organizing committee, and I am also on the steering committee of the Solidarity Caucus within the PSU. I'm here this afternoon to stand alongside these members of our community who are facing unconscionable repression, and I'm also here to state firmly that the Professional Staff Union stands against free speech crackdowns on this campus. Our union, which represents over 1,500 workers at UMass Amherst, stands alongside all members of our campus community who face harm because of their political actions. Like many campus groups, members of PSU have seen a marked deterioration in the campus's well-being since Chancellor Reyes took office. Of course, free speech repression never starts or stops with just one leader, but there's no doubt that the man who wasted over 100,000 taxpayer dollars to bring cops to campus to violently mass arrest protesters is directing much of this repression. My union has been bargaining for a fair contract for 18 months. We're seeking wages that meet the bare minimum living wage for Amherst, and we're seeking the cost of living adjustments that have been guaranteed to us by the governor. The university's bargaining team, on the other hand, has dragged its heels at every turn and has shown little interest in solving the problems that keep staff from best serving this campus. We've been able to come to an agreement on most parts of our contract, but Reyes and his team are still refusing to bring our staff up to a living wage of $60,000 a year, and perhaps most disturbingly, are insisting that one of our cost of living adjustments be merit-based. This means that the salary adjustment designed to keep us able to afford groceries and rent would now be subject to discriminatory supervisors. I think the reasons that we are gathered today shows us the kind of person management hopes to force off of this campus. Without a doubt, those engaged in political speech would be less likely to see merit-based income adjustments. As I speak, PSU members in Amherst are casting their votes of no confidence in Chancellor Reyes. We believe that it is our collective responsibility to protect our students, our community, and our educational institution from further harm. It is our hope that this vote, on top of the no-confidence votes already held by faculty, graduate workers, and students, will demonstrate to the Chancellor that enough is enough. We deserve a community free from political repression where every member of the campus can thrive. Thank you.
We'll now take questions from the press. Yes, please.
What do you guys expect the outcome will be of this petition that's got a lot of signatures? The Student Government Association voted yesterday. Do you think that will meaningfully move the university as it comes to kids' charges or anything like that?
It's hard to say exactly. I'm hoping that the combined pressure, as you're saying, of the SGA resolution, of this press conference, and of further demanding and actions taken towards the university will pressure them to drop the charges and to reaffirm students' right to protest as the students are demanding and the SGA is demanding. My hearing is tomorrow again, and we'll see how that goes, but we will need to continue to speak out to demand that they drop those charges.
And one follow-up, this is for Will over there. Could you clarify how your situation is different from Kiv's? Because you mentioned this private law firm that is part of the investigation. You go a little bit more in depth with that, distinguish both your situations.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. The private law firm's not involved in yours. Okay, so I guess that's one difference. I think I have a different subset of charges. At this point, according to the office and whatever, this is at the investigation level. So I think for Kiv as well, there's like an actual student conduct code, hearing that has been started. For me right now, and I'm a bit unclear about the details on this, but there's an investigation that's going to be conducted by this, private law firm. And I understand that kind of whatever recommendation or finding that they, give, they're just going to hand to the UMass administration. So.
Further questions from the press?
So when they bring charges, does that mean you lose your status as a student? Or just wanted to get clarity on that.
Sure. So currently where I am in the process is that I received 5 charges on October 10th, and then I received my sanction on November 7th of suspension and 3 other sanctions. And that went effective November 7th, but I'm currently in the appeals process. So the suspension itself does not go into place until the end of the appeals process. But my understanding is that can be retroactively put in place for November 7th, even if the semester's already over. So even if I finish the semester, which I am, and I'm, in all my courses, the semester is almost over, I will lose this semester, lose my tuition, lose the credit for all the courses I've been taking this semester.
This is for the Arabic language student. Could you just speak to what you sort of touched on in terms of an expansive notion of what genocide is? Because listening to you describe the attack on the ability to study the Arabic language suggests to be genocide. That is what genocide is, erasure. Have a comment about that?
Again, I was reading that statement for a grad student named Kate. That was not written by me. But as a Native American student, I think I can speak to this as well. Genocide is absolutely, like you said, an effort to completely erase a people and a culture, as well as a language. And UMass's participation in the genocide of Palestinians can be seen, these actions toward the Arabic courses can definitely be seen as an extension of that genocide. Yes. Thank you.
Maybe we have time for one more question.
Just one more thing about Arabic language too. We don't have specifics on this, because I know you didn't draft that statement, that's okay. The one thing that stuck out to me was you mentioned the course wasn't showing up expired. Do you guys have any sort of confirmation or any sort of other indication that shows it was intentionally hidden within the course catalog or anything like that? These Arabic language courses?
As far as I'm aware, there has not been a specific explanation as to why that's been happening. I think the insinuation from that statement was that it might have been purposeful or tactful in some sense. If anyone has a more thorough answer to that, I'm happy to take that as well. But yeah, that was the sense I was getting.
We can also put you in touch with Kate, the author of that statement, for follow-ups in the future. We're going to wrap up now, but some of us will still be around for further questions. Also, feel free to reach out on either of the emails we provided in our media advisory for further questions. Thank you so much for being here.